Okay, so this is going to be the video about this Emerson 3.2 cubic foot freezer refrigerator, which features 2 doors. And there's an issue where the freezer section is freezing extremely well, getting colder than one would need it to be, around negative 20 degrees or more. Whereas the refrigerator section is not getting cold. It's hovering between 57 to 60 or so degrees. And so with the bigger units, double door units, like the kind you keep in your main kitchen, full-size units, of course, the cold starts in the freezer, and then there's an air passage which allows it to go down to the refrigerator to cool off the refrigerator. But that's not the case with these units, and I'll show you why. You open this up, look in the freezer, and the freezer, even from further back, you can see it's all one molded piece of plastic. There is no opening, there is no access panel. Look all around here, there are some ridges in the back here and ridges at the top, which makes me think that these may be cooling elements, because it sure feels like it as well. And I believe there may be some on the bottom, but with no ridges. They may be, I think the reason they did it with that is so that there wouldn't be a problem with scooting things in and out. But anyhow, yeah, let's look below here. And looking below, you see the same thing. So ridges in the back, and that is also where I've kind of taken some of the electronics apart in this, but this is where the thermostat wire temperature probe would mount right here. That's what that little hole is for. That a screw goes in there, so no air passes through that at all. There's a drain hole here for accumulation of water that goes down below to the drain pan, but that's it as well. And so that is a thermostat dangling off here, which I have accessed. But I'll show you around inside here again. Absolutely no holes other than that for the electronics. This is all one molded piece of plastic. No access panel, no air holes. This hole here is just for the wiring. It goes down into the bottom of the refrigerator to access the outlet, the plug, and the compressor. The rest of this, as I put my finger here and feel around, it's solid. There is no passage inside this hole other than the one little tube that goes down to the bottom of the refrigerator, and these are just screw holes to hold the plastic housing. So there is no passage from the freezer to the refrigerator to provide cold air. So, which means that there must be some kind of cooling element behind here where the ridges are, just like it is in the freezer. And for whatever reason, this one does not seem to be cooling. It is plugged in right now, and I'm actually getting some frost already in the freezer. It's getting quite cold, but nothing in the refrigerator. So that is the question. What would cause that? One might speculate, well, in that case, perhaps it's a thermostat. That could be, but then that wouldn't explain, if the thermostat was faulty, why the freezer continues to work especially well and the refrigerator not, because then you would have to have two thermostats or have it individually controlled. And I do not believe, this doesn't appear to have wiring to have a separate setting for the freezer and the refrigerator. It just has the one temperature control. So if the thermostat was bad, then the freezer should not be working either, because the compressor would not kick on if there was a fault with a thermostat. And this does, if I leave it on, the refrigerator will get cold and it will go through its normal cooling cycle and go through its normal shutdown cycle, again indicating that it's not a thermostat issue, but rather something, for some reason, the cooling element in the refrigerator is non-functional. So any speculations here, how we go about troubleshooting this, fixing it, would be glad to know.